Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the JJSports podcast. I'm Josh.
Joey.
And Joey, with the NBA season quickly approaching less than 1 week or just about 1 week left, I think it's, the excitement is building up as the long-awaited season is finally very close to starting after a long time. And in a way that's not usually or really ever been seen before.
Sorry.
All good.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy, and I'm gonna share my screen. Just take a look at some of the games just real quick. Magic being the Hawks. I don't really care for those teams. I was actually, I'm feeling good about the Knicks so far. I mean, it's just preseason, so even if you win or you lose, always go look at good things. I don't know if you caught this game, Josh, but it was a solid effort, valiant effort, as someone we know would always say, even in a loss. Yeah, Mr. G. Pretty they spread the wealth all around on this game, and made it pretty close. Right, that was game one. Lakers dominated the Clippers without LeBron and AD. They didn't play at all. I'm pretty sure. I'm very.
You had Kawhi going for the Clippers as well.
No, he did. He played.
Yeah, I'm saying you had him going.
You had Kawhi and Paul George, right? And guess what? This team without LeBron, AD, without Rondo, Cousins, Howard, but now they got Schroeder, Harrell, and Marc Gasol. What do you think of the Lakers' chances this season? Do you think it's a lock for them to repeat as champions? Or too much to predict, too early to predict, especially since it's not even a regular game, it's a preseason game?
I think there is too much to predict, but like you said, you still look for things in these preseason games and still playing without LeBron and Anthony Davis. Now, I know Kawhi played in this game, but they said he only had 3 points. I don't know I didn't see how many minutes he played. I know it's in the column. If you could scroll back to that, maybe maybe that would give me a better idea.
Wait, which one?
If you click on the Clippers, click on the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard only played 14 minutes in this game, which was not the highest. It's not like they kept him out there for the entire game. He did not play very much. Neither did Paul George. But then again, you do still expect to see a little more than just 3 points out of Kawhi Leonard. I don't know what the other two columns are. I can't see your screen either. But so 7 rebounds and 2 assists. It was an overall decent play for a guy. Obviously, you don't expect to see that from Kawhi, but I'm sure there are a lot of younger guys on the team who are looking to give a chance to or trying to make the team still in a crazy season. We all know Kawhi Leonard's going to be a great player as well as Paul George and Serge Ibaka and Batum also looking to have some bounce back. So I don't think that the Lakers, this game really was showing of who the Clippers were, even though they beat them, or who the Lakers were. And in a regular game, maybe the Lakers probably would have beaten the Clippers. But I don't think it's a lock. It's too early to predict. And even so, they're human. You got to take that into account. Nobody thought, I shouldn't say nobody, but the overwhelming majority of people when the Raptors played the Warriors in the NBA Finals just 2 years ago did not think that even as hot as the Raptors were, most people were going with the Warriors because they've been there 4 straight years, 5 straight years maybe even. I think since 2014 they were there, or 2015, something like that. In their first year against the Cavs.
That was their 5th straight finals appearance.
Their 5th straight finals
5
appearance.
years. 5 years.
5 straight years. And they won 4 out of those 5 years. And a lot of people were saying, you know what? Even though the Raptors were white hot, coming off a crazy series win against the Bucks, they were down 2-0 to win 4 straight, clinch it on their home court. And that included going into Milwaukee and keeping their momentum there. Everyone thought still that playoff experience was going to take over. It didn't. It just didn't. And I think the same here. Even with the Lakers, as good a team as they are, I think that I know because it's happened, even the mighty fall. So that's what I think. I don't think it's a lock yet, but who knows? A month or 2 into the season, I might change my mind.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. I will have to say though, it's a great analogy. Although you people forget one thing. I don't think you can compare the two for one reason. That Warriors team was not at full health at all. You lost KD infamously to his Achilles, right? You
Well, for
lost.
the 4 games they had him before that, though, they were down 3-1.
No, but he wasn't playing at full. He was already injured. He was playing on an injury. Boogie Cousins came off an Achilles the year before, so he was playing on an injury. And then you lose Clay with an ACL. So after that, I'm just like, there was no chance. But if they were all healthy, I don't care who you are. I don't care how hot that team is. I don't care about Kawhi. They wouldn't win. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because it's not like LeBron with
Well, look,
2016, you know, because that was a great team. That was the best like record in history. But they didn't have like someone that could block LeBron like that, you know. But they did in KD. But they did, and he proved it. The next 2 years, KD shut him down, right? But then the third year, he couldn't shut a piece of metal down, like a piece of paper, like nothing. Like he was glass, you know. So I just don't think it's a fair comparison. But whatever, that's you. So whatever. But I like that you mentioned Nicholas Batum because you brought up a great point about like, you know, players trying to like come back to their former glory. So obviously people think about KD, but I was looking at this game of the Rockets, and I'll tell you why. Something stood out to me. Look at the stat line for John Wall, right? 13, 9, and 5. That isn't exactly old John Wall, but that's not terrible for someone who just came off one of the worst injuries that you could possibly have. Same thing goes for Boogie Cousins. Same exact injury. 14, 2, and 5. So do you think this is fact or fiction? Like you think, because like I'm always like a believer in a reclamation project, you know, you go coming over, but at the end of the day, Achilles, you don't come back from it, you know, usually like 9 out of 10, you don't come back from that. So do you think it's just preseason? So it's not really anything to look at. Like we should wait, or you think this is promising sign of the future?
well, it's a little bit of both for me, Joey. Because first of all, I'm not as high on believing that the Achilles tendon is super uncomebackable from. I know you say 9 out of 10, but I don't think it's even that high. It's not fun. You know, I know people who have gone through it who play sports at a pretty high level. Obviously, not in a professional level, but it's still it's not it's not a fun experience. However, I've heard from people. There are 2 people I actually know who tore both their Achilles and ACL within the same amount, like, you know, obviously between times, and mentioning that for them the ACL tear was actually a worse feeling and worse or harder to work on coming back from, you know, to what they wanted to accomplish with as opposed to the Achilles. And I will tell you that while I don't think it's much to look at because it's preseason, John Wall is, as you mentioned, coming off an Achilles injury, which is still hard to come back from, still not fun to go through. But maybe for a guy like him, and obviously it's not old, you know, in his prime, John Wall, who was a superstar, because he's not that player anymore. He's still, you know, he's getting older, but now he's become a veteran, a solid veteran presence. And even off an injury, it's good to see him putting up the stat line that he has coming off this injury, even in the preseason, because, you know, it's like for these veteran players, you know, or you should expect to see good things from, and especially a guy coming off an injury like John Wall with his Achilles, it's good to see that he puts up the numbers. You know, he had nearly a double-double, and he wasn't even that far away from a triple-double. You know, he was 5 rebounds and an assist away. That's not terrible. So
That's true.
I like what I see from him, and I hope he makes a comeback as well as DeMarcus Cousins. I think they're both great players and still have a lot to give.
I mean, I hope so too, but while I do understand your point, I think the thing about the ACL is that it definitely feels worse, but it doesn't affect you as a player worse. The thing about the Achilles is when I say it's 9 out of 10, I don't mean that you can't play anymore. Of course you can play. Yeah, of course. But the thing about the Achilles is it shuts you down. It, like if you're like explosive, it slows you down a lot. Like it limits you. ACL, while it is a terrible injury and it feels worse at the moment, if you recover it, it's as if like you never had it in a way. Like it doesn't change you completely as a player. One of the best examples is Russell Westbrook. Had an ACL injury. The next 2 years later, boom, he led the league in triple doubles and won the MVP. So like you just gotta understand like it might hurt more, but it doesn't hurt your career more. That's all I was saying. But yeah, I'm hoping the best for John Wall. You know, that's what stood out to me. And there was another game. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Yeah, this game between the Blazers and the Kings. You probably didn't catch it, but I like catching because I like seeing like my favorite Knicks play. Even if it's in another jersey. So Melo put on a shooting clinic. 21 points, 2 assists, 40, like 21's like he led the team in scoring that game. So it's pretty exciting. And it's pretty telling when Dame and CJ are not the leading scorers. It's Melo. So it's pretty exciting for me, honestly, to see.
Well, I mean, 18 points between three different players, not between all three different players had 18 points.
Oh yeah, three. You're right.
And I mean, like CJ McCollum is, as we know, one of the better scorers in the NBA. I think that's pretty undoubtable.
Yeah, for sure. I love seeing CJ play. He's fantastic, and yeah, it was a great game. And another point with the Rockets, if you remember, we did a thing a few weeks ago how they got a new head coach. So how hard that could be for him, adapting to a new job for the first time. The guy that's under Rick Carlisle's system now, Steven Silas is now coaching the Rockets, and now he's in a pandemic and all this. So props to that guy, And like those were the games that really stood out to me, Like there's a lot of other ones, the Knicks lost again, and the Rockets lost also the next game.
Well, what again? The Knicks didn't lose a preseason game before the one they won.
That's true. They started off strong, and they didn't lose.
Okay, so to say they lost again, it's a new season. You put the past in the past. As bad as they've been and as bad as they may project it to be, you can't say anything until it actually happens. In any sport, this is an analogy used for any sport. It was like saying,
you know what? You're right. It's a new season. Let's do it.
Like saying when the Browns lost 38-6, or I think 35-6, something like that, on opening day against the Ravens. That here comes 0-16 again, or very close to that. 3-13, 4-12, maybe even 5-11 at best. And now look at them; they're 9-4. So
yeah, and they're not like super. They weren't like super frauds, like other teams.
Not frauds at all. It's a different team you're looking at. I'm not saying the Knicks will be like the Cleveland Browns and all of a sudden put up a 40-plus, 45, 50-win season right now. That would be a complete turnaround, similar to what the Browns have done in the NFL. I know two different sports, but the analogy is still the same and the same.
But they could still shock some people. They could still.
Exactly.
I believe in Coach Tibbs, and let's get it. I mean, like it's just interesting because you look at all the games, all the second games, everybody split, except for the Lakers, who just again dominated the Clippers. I just take a look at the stat line real quick before we move on. The Kyle Kuzma with 25 points. This guy, THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, I've heard a lot of good things about this guy. He's like one of their top prospects. He's 33 points clinic against the Clippers. And he's played for 41 minutes. That's a lot of time.
Also, Kyle Kuzma didn't play for that much, that much shorter than he did.
Exactly. So he scored a bit more than Kuzma, and he even racked up a lot more rebounds too. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty good. I'm hearing a lot of good things about this guy. Don't be surprised if you hear his name another time in the season, I don't know if you heard of this guy on the Sixers, Matisse Thybulle. He was this guy that was vlogging in the bubble. So I heard him a lot. So I thought he was pretty cool. So maybe this guy can be like that kind of guy next season. But regardless, I think that's all we should talk about in the there were a lot of other games, but let's just say we're gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna wait till next week when the season starts. So I think we're ready to move on, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do we have for baseball this week, Joey? I know that normally we do switch it off. How Joey does the intro for basketball, and I'll take over for baseball. But Joey had a specific topic he wanted to share with you guys today. So Joey, it's your moment again.
So first thing, usually we talk about free agency. Well, don't worry, we'll talk about that next week because I don't particularly think the stove's going to be any hotter. Snow's going to stop it a little bit. But anyway, so our first topic is something I find very interesting, and it's a big topic, and I don't want to get too political, but I do want to mention this thing a little bit. I'm sure Josh heard about it, but so if you recall, the Washington football team had a whole controversy about changing their name from, that word to something in the future. So now the Cleveland Indians are apparently going to do it too. So Josh, what do you think about this? Without being too political, you think I don't care. Good idea.
I can understand it more with Washington because that's a little more specific. But Indians are like, they range from so many different like sub tribes almost, like not tribes. The Indians are one tribe, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah, and apparently
groups.
there was a team before in Cleveland, and they had an Indian player on their team. So apparently they made the new name to honor that player. Like that's a legend. That's like a legend. Like it's never been confirmed, but that's like one of the legends about why they called him that. So it's actually to honor someone. So with that being said, do you think this means, like as this title says, which I hope is just clickbait, that the Braves, Chiefs, Blackhawks are next, and even the Seminoles in the college, like see, like you can see on your screen, like what do you think? You think those should be changed too? Like, or maybe let me rephrase. Not should. Do you think they will? Do you think they will change?
I can't say. I really can't, because like if you're gonna change, like I understand changing Redskins, and I'll understand if you change Blackhawks. Those are two specific colors mentioned within. If you're gonna go, to that far an extent. But for Braves and Chiefs, I just like. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So it's too unpredictable for me. If they say they're going to change it, just like they said they were going to change the Washington Redskins team name to, whatever it was, and they didn't end up coming up with one, so they called it the Washington football team, unless that was their plan all along, then brilliant for them. But if not, then, a lot of people were not really taking it serious at first when they said that long down the road, they're going to change their name to something that's not the Redskins. And now, look at them, like they did, it happened. So like there's no reason for me not to believe it won't happen if they're saying they're gonna do it. It's just I don't really have any views. I'm not pro it, I'm not against it. It's kind of just neutral with me. It's like something I almost couldn't really care about. But I can understand if you're gonna say, like, from a serious standpoint, that it's that it's either a racist type name, or if it's offensive in any way to anyone, any type of people in the world, then yeah.
Right. So based on what you're saying, I just want to add, so the Blackhawks thing, I do get the whole color thing. Allegedly, it's actually not about referring to a color. It's referring to an actual person that lived in the area.
I'm aware, but with
I'm just saying what they claim, the organization, that's actually to honor someone.
The way it sounds, though, it's not.
I get it. That's true. And with the Braves and Chiefs, I personally, like, those I don't actually see a problem with, because those to me seem like they're actually 100% honoring, and there's no way in my idea that they're technically insulting anybody. But there were instances. Now with the Indians, I think they did a great job because they got rid of Chief Wahoo, right? They got rid of him this year. And I personally thought that was enough. But, like, that's as far as I'm going to reveal my view on that. But, yeah, I thought that was enough. I think that was good enough appeasement. I think they could have kept the name. But whatever. If they have to change it, they have to change it. And second of all, I believe the Braves used to have this thing called the tomahawk chop, right? So I feel like – yeah, so I feel like – yeah, they have this thing called the tomahawk chop. So I feel like if they don't want to change the name, they definitely got to probably get rid of that. Like, I know it's kind of cool, but, like, it's probably super, like, stereotypical, like, racism. Like, they probably should get rid of that, honestly. I mean, they don't have any offensive, like, logos, do they? I'm trying to remember.
Just a hammer.
No, like, but not anymore. Like, they, like,
I don't know.
They used to, I think. No, I don't think.
I don't know about it in the past, but
I don't know about the hammer. Like, maybe get rid of the hammer. Maybe just make it the word. I don't know. But, like, to me, like, Braves, when I think of the word brave, I feel like that's a great thing to be, And Chiefs, oh, we're the big boys, and it actually fits well with their team because they are the big boys. Like, they're the best. So I hear that, And, like, the arrow looks pretty cool because that's the KC. It's not just an arrowhead. So, like, it's KC. Like, I don't know. If they do it, whatever. Like, it kind of stinks. But, because of the history of the team. But whatever. At the end of the day, we're not rooting for the team name. We're rooting for the team there, or at least the people that live there. So you do what you got to do. But just for the love of God, do not call them the Cleveland baseball team, Atlanta baseball team. Don't give us this stupid grace period, the Kansas City football. We don't want it, okay? We don't want it because we're gonna make fun of you for it, and we're probably gonna call you the original name before you change it also, just because, like, how annoyingly hard it is to remember or say a long name like that. But anyway, yeah, like, it's funny. I was actually talking about it with Sammy, and Sammy got pissed when I talked about the Blackhawks. Like, no, man, they're honoring someone. It was funny,
Mm-hmm.
And also, Josh, I don't know. When was the last time you saw the Mighty Ducks trilogy or any of them?
The Mighty Ducks trilogy. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen scenes of the third and the second one pretty recently.
Yeah, so I feel like majority people like the first one and like some like the second one more than the first one.
Yeah.
I personally, the third one's my favorite. And if you watch the movie, you can understand this. But the basic reason is because it talks about playing defense.
Yeah.
Which is like really funny. I'm like, wait a second, did they not play defense the first two movies? They're just like funny, you know, like they just scored a ton, so they never had to make up a defense. And everyone's like, you can't do that when you grow up. Like
they did that in the first game, and they went from 10-0 to like 10-10 and like
it was 9-0.
9-0.
Third period.
Yeah,
one of the guys on the Ducks is like, it's over, and then it got the guy mad, and then I'm just like, oh my god, they're terrible, and then it's 9-8 with 10 seconds left. The main guy gets the puck. They're pulling the goalie, and he's like slowly trying to ice it, you know, into the goal, and an inch before the goal line, and they take it, and then they score and they tie the game.
Yeah,
and it's like
and
the guy comes in the funniest way. He comes in with a puck, and he's like, "How long does it take to score a goal?" And he chucks the puck at the board, and he's like, "Less than a second." You know, it's just like, I love all the things. Anyway, the reason I brought it up is because there's this character in the movie that like comes up to the main guy and he's like, "Hey, will you sign this petition to change because the name of the school, it's not the Ducks, it's the Warriors."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh man, Warriors is cool, you know, Chiefs, Braves." Like he literally says all the teams we said, you know. And the reason this person does this is for what we're talking about. That. So I thought it was really cool how even then again, even if Disney didn't agree with it, they wanted to bring up the issue. I always thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, but that's the end of that topic. Should we move on to the next topic of baseball?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So Josh knows about this, but I wanted to bring it to the viewers. So we all know Rob Manfred kind of is a clown. You know, kind of. Yeah.
To some people, you know, that's like the over, you know, the major view is
majority rules, you know, like honestly, if you just dealt with the whole Astros,
it's not easy dealing with, you know, the timing he's dealing with now, Joey. But
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the whole Astros thing. If he just did a normal punishment, like a real one, like I think people would have let it all go. But then he messed that up, and on top of that, the piece of metal, and on top of not being able to make a season, like I didn't think we were gonna have a season for like a week, you know. I just didn't think it was gonna happen.
Well, he made it.
No, he did. But hindsight's 20/20, right? So like. Right. But I have to give it to him. He did good. We all know many legendary players from the Negro Leagues. I'm saying it just in terms of telling you the word. I don't like to say the word, but just to make you understand what I'm talking about, that's what it was called then. I will just call it the N Leagues from now on, just so you have context. So in the N Leagues, we had many famous players that moved on to the MLB, but not all of them were technically in the MLB for a long time. We all know Jackie Robinson, but there are some other ones that are legendary. So Rob Manfred has now announced that anyone that had phenomenal stats in those leagues, the N Leagues, will now be in MLB history for statistics because he realizes that there was division now, and if it weren't for the division of that time, you know, a lot of those players probably could have been in the majors. So he wants to rectify that mistake we made as a country and show how proud we are to be together, you know, without like being annoying about it. So, you know, players like Satchel Paige, you know, legendary players like that, they can be part of MLB history instead of just limited, you know? So what do you think about this, Josh?
You know, I think it's deserving of it, and I think it's kind of almost also a way – I don't want to say almost. I don't know if this has anything to do, but I would make the assumption saying it probably does have to do with part of the fact still being, you know, with the whole George Floyd thing, everything that went down earlier in the year. You know, and still, like, you know, there's still, you know, riots going on in cities despite, you know, the rise of the coronavirus in certain areas. Still, people are still taking this to heart. And I think that since baseball is such a popular thing, you know, it's one of the top viewed sports in not just America, but all around the world. You know, they play it in Japan also. They play it in South America. They played in Mexico. They play it everywhere.
Dominican Republic, all these leagues, all over. It's
everywhere.
Like it's American pastime. But the whole world understands how beautiful.
Exactly. It's reaching out. I think it's almost a way, and it's not almost, to me, or in my opinion, it is a way of saying, you know, like, No
Let's
more.
put people together, you know?
Exactly. No
That's
more.
that's
No
what I love
more
about sports, you know? But
just straightforward. Added. There's nothing. There's nothing that was wrong. There's nothing that was right done at the time, and there's nothing wrong with adding them to be part of MLB history, knowing that it really was not their fault that they could not play Major League Baseball instead.
right, it wasn't in their control, because of the state of the country. Like, I don't know if you've seen 42, Josh, but it's one of my favorite baseball movies because of how, like, it does a great job of showing you what it was like then. Like, yeah, they use the N-word, but I feel like in that context, it's okay because you have to understand what kind of scrutiny Jackie Robinson was going through just because of how he looked, like how unfair it was, you know? Like, it was just a special type of thing. Like, the bathrooms were separated and all the, and even, I don't know if you remember, did you watch the movie?
I didn't see the whole thing. It was a
Okay,
long.
but like basically there's like a reporter, a black reporter, and he can't even be in the same press box. So like that's even like from there, you know what I mean? So like I always credit like the guy. I don't know, like Harrison Ford, like he played the guy, I don't know if he's the owner or the manager, Branch Rickey. I always credit him for trying to change the world by doing that. Like what he did was phenomenal, because like it must have been very hard to do, like go through all that, not just for Jackie but for Branch, because like you're putting all, like, obviously he wanted to find a good player so he could prove to people like he's not going to get a scrub to be the first one. Like it's just phenomenal. So now we all knew Jackie was great in the MLB because the whole league retired his number. But now other players like Josh Gibson, Buck Leonard, Satchel Paige, now they all, along with Jackie Robinson, can be honored. So I commend Mr. Manfred. You did a good job. You did a good job. Get some more A's, and maybe we can get you an above 500 grade. Get a good record.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say, if this is the first of many, I can't wait for the rest. Okay, let's talk about, I think we're ready for the next, yeah?
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and go with your thing. Guys, we're going to do something a little bit different in football tonight, but we cannot change it up completely.
We cannot do our new thing without talking about. Okay, so Josh, before I talk about this game, let's set the stage, okay? It's 2018. It's Monday night. You have a new stud head coach. He's a young man. His name is Mr. Sean McVay. He's got a young quarterback, Jared Goff. He's got some nice receivers that we won't know too much about yet in Kupp, Woods. I think even Cooks was on the team then.
Yep.
He somehow had a crazy offseason to have Aaron Donald paired along, I don't know, Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, right? And they are going against someone that we will like to call a legend in a few years, hopefully, a Mr. Patrick Mahomes II. Coached by Andy Reid, has a phenomenal offense with a man named Tyreek Hill, tight end Travis Kelce. You know the works. They even have, I don't even know who their defense is. I don't know if they have Matthew yet, but I think they still had Eric Ferry, Justin Thomas, people like that, right? When I watched that game, I thought to myself, this is probably one of the greatest regular season games of all time. And that's an opinion thing. But most people will at least admit that that was the best game of that year. And I thought, well, I don't know if we can ever be that easy again. And then what happened a year ago or a year later from that game? The Saints in the Superdome played the 49ers, who went on to the Super Bowl that year, right? They didn't win, but still. And we thought the Saints had it in the bag. I mean, like, it wasn't a lock because they were both playing, but then Kittle had this monster run, if you remember. Do you remember that, Josh? Monster run. He took like 3 guys with him, you know what I'm talking about? And I thought to myself, like how, like, they can't pull this off again, right? Like they can't do it, right?
Mm-hmm. And guess what?
Yeah. They did it, and it did not disappoint. And they did a hell of a job. What am I talking about? I'm talking about some greatness I witnessed on Monday night. I am talking about the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. what a game this was. And I got to say, for multiple reasons. Number one, division rivals. Always a good game when it's a division rival. Number two, the history of these teams. If you remember, Josh, there was a team in Baltimore called the Baltimore Colts. They moved away, went to Indianapolis. So we didn't have a team Baltimore.
Hold up. It was 40. I thought it was 45-42.
No. Actually, no, I think you're right.
There's no way they won by 5.
No, it was a kick. It was a field goal. Yeah, I'm confused.
It was a field goal. So
that must be a mistake.
let's I'm gonna double check that. Make sure.
I think you're right. It was a field goal. So why would they?
No, I know it was a field goal, and I don't think the Ravens were also like the Browns. I'm pretty sure were in the lead. I don't think they won it by more than 2 points. I'm just gonna.
No, I think it was 3.
No, it's saying 47-42, but how is that possible? The Browns.
I don't know. But anyway, the point is,
whatever.
The point is, yeah, there was a team in Baltimore. Then all of a sudden, the Cleveland Browns owner just sneaks them away in the night and brings them to Baltimore. So now all of Cleveland's kind of glory, their tight end Ozzie Newsome becomes the GM. Now he's the GM of the Ravens. So now, and then they become a Super Bowl contender, and then they win the Super Bowl. Then 13 years later, they do it again. And they're still like top of the class in their division. Obviously, the Steelers always bite it out, but they're still very good. And the Cleveland Browns get a new team again, but they're always the laughingstock. Well, even though they lost, I don't think so. I think we got a new pair of Browns here. The coach is doing a phenomenal job. They're 9-4. They're doing things I've never seen before. Did you ever
see yourself in that division? They still have the second place in that division.
And the playoffs are expanded, so like they don't have to worry about getting the Steelers spot, just theirs. So
not yet, they don't. Not yet.
And even though they lost, they still have a better record. Sorry. Windows open.
I mean, look, if the Raiders get hot, they might if the Browns lose out and the Raiders win out, I'm pretty sure that the Raiders might have the tiebreaker. I don't know about the tiebreaker. They might even have a better record than the Browns.
Well, that being said, did you think the game of the year was going to be against the Browns?
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, look at the clip. See, it is 42.
42-42. It was 45-42 final. That's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know why ESPN. Whatever, it's okay.
I was wrong about the Browns leading, but I was not wrong about the fact that they didn't win the game by 5 points.
Yeah, but the point wasn't that an amazing game? You didn't know who was gonna win. Like when Baker went on that last drive,
I got the laptop.
It was phenomenal. I thought maybe they could win. I was like, wow, they really could, because as they say, the Ravens D is sus. As they like to say. Wasn't this a great game? Like look at the stat lines. Lamar Jackson rushed for 124 yards.
And he came in twice.
He ran for 2 touchdowns. Their rushers, their running backs were insane. And they didn't even have Mark Ingram. Think about that. They didn't even have Mark Ingram. And they still dominated the running game.
They rushed for 5 touchdowns. That's I've never seen that in a game. Most I've seen is 4, and not even by a running back, and then 3, because I was going to say the most I've seen is 4 by a running back in one game, but not all 4 of them were rushing touchdowns. One of them was receiving. So,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not a surprise to the team, because if you heard, a team scored 5 rushes, you wouldn't be surprised it's this team, because this team
it was between 3 players.
This team can run no, but even so, this team has a great running core and a quarterback that can run like hell, And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not giving all the credit to just when I said this was a great rushing game, I didn't just mean Baltimore. Look at Cleveland's rushing. All of the 4 touchdowns also rushing. Think about that. 8 rushing touchdowns. 8.
9.
Hold on. 2, 3.
Do the math.
I didn't see, my bad. I didn't see Baker's. Yeah, Baker. Yeah, so sorry, 9. 9 rushing touchdowns.
Well, you think Lamar Jackson's the only quarterback who can run for touchdowns in the NFL or in this game?
No, bro. We're getting all the guys. We're getting all those guys, man. Baker, Daniel, Kyler, all of them can do it now. Not as good as him, but they can do it. They can do it. Anyway, what a great game, man. And then the receiving also beautiful. Beautiful receiving on both sides, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
Kareem Hunt also had a receiving touchdown.
He had the touchdown.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about it for a second. I know they lost, but the fact that it was so close and they didn't have Odell or they did and sorry they didn't have Odell. They didn't have Odell. And Jarvis Landry wasn't even their best receiver. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
They got Nick Chubb back. Ever since Chubb has come back healthy, it looks like he's playing even better than he did before. Before he hit the IR, before he was on injured reserve. And even so, I'm fully expecting him to be a real force in that offense, and he's gonna help carry that team. I'm not saying they are carried. They have they're an overall good team. I don't think they have too much force coming from their defense or coming from their offense. I think they're an overall well-balanced team. They can score when they need to score. They've shown that. And their defense overall, they play good football. You got Olivier Vernon, you got Myles Garrett, B.J. Goodson, Terrence Mitchell,
the former Giants.
They have a lot.
I mean, yeah, they got to him. They got like I know they lost, but you got to give it to the Browns, man. What a great when you think about the Saints 49ers game, you got to give it to the losing team too.
Yeah, exactly.
Also Rams Chiefs. That was a phenomenal game. You got to give it to the other team. This isn't one of those games where you're like happy one team won over the other. You're just happy you got to enjoy the ride, especially because one of these weren't your teams like that we go for. So it's just like we could enjoy. It doesn't affect us. This is AFC, it doesn't affect us. So it's just like, hell yeah, I'm going for it. And to see the Browns step up, I like to say, if I had to pick top 3 underrated coaches for Coach of the Year, I would say Kevin Stefanski, Joe Judge, and the guy from what's it called? And what's his name? The new coach. What? I'm trying to remember. Who am I thinking of? He's like very underrated. Man. Matt Rule from Panthers. It's like those 3 I put underrated like for Coach of the Year. Like obviously it wouldn't be my top, because you obviously got to think about it. Anyway, but that's what we're trying to talk about, Josh. That's our next topic. But yeah, let's move on from this game. But so what exactly did you want to do, Josh? All
right, guys. So we're going to try something different this week. We're going to do what's called Pick'em. Joey and I are going to run through all the matchups this coming week in the NFL, which begins tomorrow night with I don't remember the matchup.
Yeah, I'll show it to you in a second. Hold on.
But either way, just let it be known that this is the first time we're trying this segment on the football portion of this podcast, and to let it be known just how it works. Joey and I are going to go through all the matchups. I'm going to give my guess or my opinion, my call on who's going to win the game between each matchup. Joey's going to give his opinion. As soon as we give our opinion, we each have 10 seconds timed, or I don't know if you want to do it timed, but we can basically time it, and we'll each give our reasoning why. No arguments, just simply that's how it is. Okay,
ready? So yep. Thursday Night Football, Raiders, Chargers. I think we all know where we're going on this.
Yeah, that's also if it comes down to a debate, that is when the reasoning.
Right. So just we're both in agreement on Raiders.
Yeah, pretty much.
Broncos, Bills. I think we're also in agreement on Bills.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Packers, Panthers. If you want to contest, I'll hear you, but I still, probably.
I think it's going to the Packers. I think that they have momentum in that 1 seed now that the Saints lost that game, and the Packers tied with the Saints record-wise. But guess what? The Packers beat the Saints earlier on the year. It was one of their only 3 losses. So I got to say, I like Green Bay in this game, as well as the Panthers can play.
Yeah. Okay, so how about this one? This one could be contested maybe. I don't know. What are you
I'm taking the 49ers on this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. Cowboys, I like Dalton, and I know he won, but come on, man. Kyle Shanahan's not a stooge. He's not. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but they can win. They can win games. It's just not they
beat the Rams with injuries. The Rams are looking like they might be the best team in the NFC recently. So
right, you beat the Rams. They could beat this team. They could. All right, this one I think we're going to contest, right? I imagine.
Maybe you will. I don't know about.
Well, let me hear you. I don't know.
Well, I'm going with Seattle here, and I'll give you my reasoning. I think I know who you're going with. But first,
I didn't say I'm contested. I don't know who you were doing.
Well, let me hear you then, because we don't have to contest if you take the Seahawks.
No, I'm taking the Seahawks.
Okay, you're taking
I have to because I know Washington is on a roll, but Seahawks have just been ripped lately. So I think they need to get their head out of their ass, and I think this is the chance. Now this next game, I think. Let me hear yours first.
I think the Vikings. The Vikings went into Chicago and they beat them there. So coming to Minnesota, yeah, that's what I think. What about you, though?
I thought you were going to pick the Bears. I'm picking the Vikings too
Yeah.
because the Bears to me are.
We all know the Bears are frauds.
No, the Bears are frauds. By the way, remember when I was
Um,
talking to you about how the Browns were frauds and like how we all thought like we were hoping they weren't and how we know other teams were? This is exactly who I was thinking of. I don't know if I showed you that clip of Gridiron Heights.
Yeah, Gridiron Heights.
Yeah.
Even they didn't think the Browns were
And that was when they were 5-0. That was when they were 5-0 and they knew
They were 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So like come on. Like they're frauds. I'm sorry. Like the Vikings aren't like world beaters or anything, but they prove they can win games. They proved it. Okay. This one. All right, let me hear you on this one. This might be the first one. Not sure.
You know, as much as I want to pick the Patriots, I have to pick the Dolphins. You know, records don't say everything. That's not the reason I'm picking them. If you look at the way these two teams have been playing recently, Patriots have been a little bit better. But let's be realistic. They just walked into the Rams Stadium, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California, and completely got their butts kicked. It was not a contest. You know, the play calling just didn't make a lot of sense to me. There were a couple plays, and I could specify exactly which ones they were, when the Patriots had the ball in the red zone on the goal line, like 2 or 3 yards away. They went for it on third down with a QB sneak with Cam Newton, which is not a bad option. You know, if you think you're going to go for it, or even so, Newton's still a powerful guy who could get the job done in a situation like that. They don't pick it up. The second you know they're going for it on fourth down, you could assume one of two things if you're the Rams. I'm not a professional coach in football. I'm not a defensive coordinator, but this is just from knowing. If you know football and you know how Cam Newton plays, you knew this was coming.
You knew he was going to run it himself, you know?
And it happened that he ran another quarterback sneak or another quarterback draw, whatever you want to call it. And it just – because as soon as you see the Patriots spread out 5 wide, you know Newton's not throwing a slant. Not against Jalen Ramsey. You know, he's not going to try. I forget who is on the other who's on the other side for the Rams. Another like really obvious name. You know, he's not going to try Michael Brockers dropping back in coverage either on the tight end. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
And like you have Aaron Donald to worry about too.
And then you got Aaron Donald. Like I don't know why he would bother with that offensive line. You know, like Brockers was going to come back from the position. You know, he's normally on the offensive line, but you were either going to see him drop back into coverage and play a guy who, like, you know, one of the guys in the slot area who were both going to be cutting across the field had it been a slant. And if you're going to sneak it with him, then he's going to be there. You're going to have Donald to deal with. It just was not a good – I'm not going against Bill Belichick. You know, Bill Belichick is probably the greatest coach of the entire last decade. I don't think there's really much of a question.
The decade I'll give you.
Yeah. No.
The time I'm not ready yet.
I don't think there's much of a question.
I'll give you the decade because I don't think anyone could beat him. Yeah. Like, not Reed or Tomlin. But
I don't think there's
they have something to say for this decade.
I don't think there's much question. But it just was not smart. And, you know, it showed. Honestly, that point in the game was right when I knew, not thought, was when I knew they were going to lose it if they hadn't already. And it just didn't work. And, yeah, they're not playing so great. I know the last couple weeks haven't been as bad. You know, you had that nice win against the Cardinals where their offense has been flying pretty high and their defense really stepped up against Kyler Murray that week. But then you have the Dolphins, who have also been playing great. They beat the Cardinals a couple of weeks before. And while their defense didn't exactly step up, that offense stepped up big time. I'm pretty sure they went into Arizona and beat them there.
But didn't they choke against the Chiefs technically? Was that a choke or not? Like,
I don't know if you'd call it a choke. I mean, like,
this is the only reason I might want to call it. Not 100%, but like the fact that Mahomes threw 3 picks, right, and they still won.
I don't think you could do that because we all know, or most of us know, at least in my opinion, that the Dolphins' strength is more in their defense than their offense. They're like the second highest scoring defense in the NFL. And I didn't catch that game. I didn't see the highlights, so I don't know how much their defense
You
played.
didn't see one of the craziest sacks of all time? Okay, let me just quickly set the stage for you.
Well, hold on. Let me just run this back.
Hey, sorry.
That my pick is the Dolphins because I think that they've been playing better football than the Patriots, and they've been getting tougher matchups. And even though they may have lost some of those matchups, they played a lot more competitively than the Patriots. I know that the Rams are not the Chiefs. You know, we're not back in 2018 right now, but I can't see a scenario. I really can't. And it's going to be in Miami. I don't know if they're allowing fans, but I don't know if Foxborough is allowing fans either. But I think it's a no-brainer, honestly. I think that the Dolphins have to be the pick here to win it.
Okay.
They're fighting for a playoff spot for the first time.
I hear you.
In a while, too.
I do want to just point out something. You can imagine this scenario. Patrick Mahomes can't find anybody, so he keeps running back because someone's rushing at him. Imagine someone's rushing at him, so he's trying to bait them and he's trying to go around, and before they get him, boom, quick slant to somebody like Hill or Kelsey. Like you've seen him do that a million times, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried doing that at this game against the Dolphins. He ran backwards basically 30 yards. He sprinted, and he got sacked.
That's crazy.
He didn't get escaped. That's the only reason I'm like confused because you picked him out 3 times. You had one of the craziest sacks I've seen this season, maybe ever. And you still lost. And the only reason I do admit the Dolphins tend to beat the Patriots a lot in the past few years. I feel like Belichick's ready for Flores. I feel like he knows him. I don't know.
You're looking at a different team. Don't forget, the Dolphins are not. Last year, the Patriots were a top team in the NFL. They were 12 and what was it? They were 12-4, I believe, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know, they were, or were they 11 and 4?
No,
I think they were 11-4 going into that game, and the last second touchdown by Mike Gesicki. So.
By the way, that was crazy. By the way, I did that.
It was, and I'm pretty sure even if the Patriots would have won that game, that the Chiefs would have had the 2 seed because the Chiefs beat the Patriots in the one-on-one matchup that in their game that year. So it goes first to one-on-one matchups, and then it goes to I guess however else they break it if it's not in the same division. But so this is the first one I think that we can test on then.
Yeah. Okay, I think we agree on the next few ones, though. I think we agree on the Ravens. I think we agree on the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think we agree on the Titans. I think those are just easy. Do we agree on the Colts?
Yeah, I would take the Colts.
What do you say about Cardinals? I think Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals have to be.
Okay, good. Rams, obviously.
It's not a question. Just skip it. Just
delete it. Get rid of it.
Thanks.
Okay, so this one is the first one. So let's just quickly do the other 2 because I think those are just easier. I think we're going to both agree on the Steelers.
Yeah.
Right? And do you say Browns or Giants?
I think the Browns are going to win that game, but that's a bet. If I'm going to make the bet on the Browns to win, it's a bet I hope I lose.
I'm going to bet on the Giants just because I think they needed their slice of humble pie, and I think they're just ready to take it. I think they're going to learn from this loss, but that's just me. I'm not going to fight you on it. Mm-hmm. But I think the Chiefs-Saints is the first one. Who do you think's winning this?
I think it's got to go to the Chiefs. Saints took a tough loss to the Eagles, who played without Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts was great. His first ever NFL start. He's gotten time similar to the way the Saints gave Taysom Hill action before he became the starting quarterback after the Drew Brees injury. But, to see what the Eagles did to the Saints last week and think, oh my gosh, they lost to the Eagles. They were 3-8-1 with their backup quarterback. And I know the Saints also have their backup quarterback, but let's be realistic. They still beat teams pretty well with Taysom Hill at quarterback. And especially if he's going to be the quarterback in this game, even in New Orleans, I don't think there's any way they slow down the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on a huge win streak. They were 4-0 when they lost their first game. So that made them 4-1. So that would have to mean that they've won 8 straight games. I don't think anyone's going to stop them, quite honestly. Not at the end of the regular season, at least.
I hear you, but at the end of the day, I'm afraid. I feel like the Chiefs are getting Steeleritis, that playing down to their competition thing.
I really don't think so.
I'm only saying it because of the Dolphins game. Like, you told me you didn't watch it, but I did. I got very worried a lot in the game.
I mean, then again,
He
though,
picks that stack. That's automatic. That's automatic for him. He always escapes that. I don't get it. Like, he sprinted 30 yards.
They're a different team. They're a different team this year. I don't want to say they're the Browns because the Browns have turned it around. The Dolphins haven't been as bad as the Browns have the last 2 or 3 years. They've had a playoff appearance within the last 3 or 4 years.
No, but that was different time. That was
doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. That's when they had JJ. That's when they had Jarvis Landry. That's when they had Adam Kinsu. That's when they had Ryan Tannehill. That was a different time. That's not the same team. It's a very different team. I'm talking about the last 2 years. Last 2 years, Dolphins have not been great. They've not been great. This is the first year.
It's even better this year. It's much better this year. It's a way improved team. And don't forget, I know the Dolphins stuck into the playoffs because they were a wild card team. But what were they, 7-9, 8-8 that year? I don't think they were too great. They weren't that deserving of of a playoff spot, from what I remember. Don't forget,
more so,
and it wasn't Ryan. It was Matt Moore in the last couple of games.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Even more so, that's the point. They were so bad. They weren't great. That's why I feel like the Chiefs were playing down because they didn't expect them to be better than them.
That's what I'm saying here. The Dolphins are a completely different team this year than they were the last couple of years. And I don't think it's so surprising to see that the Chiefs only beat them by, 6 points? What was it, 30
Very
points?
close. And I don't remember the exact score, but it was very close.
Something like that. I know it wasn't so far up. It wasn't a blowout. They lost by single digits. I know that. And I think
Sean Payton thought we're going to be fine with Taysom Hill. But then he lost to a rookie who never played before. So I think now that he's playing the Chiefs, he's going to game plan like crazy for this game. I think it's going to be so close, but I think they might win. I really do. Because the Chiefs to me are always been a 12-2 type of team. Always losing 1 or 2 games very close. We already had that one game with the Raiders, so this might be their second one. Because that's
okay.
all. Yeah. Okay, so I think so we only contested 3 or 4 matchups.
Yeah, most of them I think are pretty easy to agree on, but I'm not going to be shocked if we see any upsets here. I won't be shocked if the Saints beat the Chiefs, but I'm fully not expecting them to beat the Chiefs at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense.
And if the Giants beat the Browns, will you be shocked?
Not really, to be honest, but I'm not expecting the Browns to exactly, lose that game. I think that this was, I honestly think, as much as I don't want to believe it, that the Giants had a huge hole ripped in their sail last week against the Cardinals with that loss after 4 straight wins and taking on the supposed best team in the NFC in Seattle at the time. You go 2 weeks back. Right now, things have changed. The Packers and the Rams and the Saints are still up there as the top 3 now, but you can't count them out. And, they lost to Kyler Murray, which is understandable. But the way they did it was just, that defense for the Cardinals really shut them down. And I know the offense hasn't exactly been a strong suit for the Giants, but they weren't playing that bad, especially with the –
You got to get something out of this. It's always been about the defense. But the offense has always worked enough because of Gallman and because of Jones, right? But there's 2 problems, right? And they're both come from the same thing. Jason Garrett, he puts too much emphasis in his offense for the running, including for the quarterbacks, right? So he puts more running plays for Jones than he does for Gallman, and that hurts him, especially because Jones had just come off an injury. So it's not shocking that we lost them. And I don't think – listen, I think as long as Jones is back to full health by this game, we can win. But if it feels like the same. Also, the O-line was just like how it used to be. It's weird. It's like we get back to 2018. I'm just what happened? Because it used to be so good. I'm so confused. But then I realized it's not just the O-line. It's the fact that Jones can't move. He can't they were good enough because he could move, but he can't move. He's stuck. So, you know what? If he can move, I think we can win.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to tell, the Giants, obviously, what they could have done. But
obviously.
Had it been my move, I probably would have started Colt McCoy last week just to be sure that Jones would be fully recovered because we don't know if we're assuming he's going to be a lot better for this game against the Browns. They have a little more time. The game's a lot later than it was the same day of the week, just, And the Browns also.
And by the way, I
are
want
playing
you
on
to.
a short week to make things a little more fair in the Giants, in the Giants' favor. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That does help. But I think people got to understand something about why I love this specific matchup. Do you know what time this game's at?
yeah, it's the Sunday night. Nobody thought we would be seeing the Sunday night game
Wait,
between the Browns
wait.
and the
Do you know,
Giants.
do you know why we got this game? Because this game between the boys
Yeah,
and the Niners got flexed, baby. They're not a primetime team anymore. We are.
kind of crazy.
I mean, the announcement came after the Seahawks win, so it wasn't that crazy. But how do you like them apples, Jerry? Huh? How do you like that?
Okay.
Well, we're gonna be on national television, man. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. So everyone will see us either stink or rock their world. Hopefully, it's the second thing. Anyway, we've had a blast doing our matchups. We might continue doing this next week, or we might do it with the original format. That will be up to us. Let's move on to our final topic. We're doing one more NHL quiz. And Josh, I will give you control. I'm putting on the timer. Please be ready to start because I have to go soon. So here, I gave you control and share your screen. And I'm gonna leave.
All right. So, what's your timer going to be set
15.
for? It's 14 minutes.
Yeah, I'm doing 15 just in case. So I'm starting it now because you have 14. So
Okay. So, as you guys can see, same thing as always. Joey's going to go out of sight so that he does not hear or see me typing in any of the names. So anyway, let's run this back just to show you real quick. It is can you name the top 5 players in points for each NHL team during the 2014-2015 NHL season? That's right. Recently, we've been doing a lot of the quizzes that have to do with a lot of the events, such as the playoffs or the regular seasons that have happened recently between teams or all players. But we're testing it to go a little bit farther back in time and see just how well we did. Joey gave me this idea because the Rangers won the President's Trophy. They were the best team in the regular season, and despite us both being massive fans and rooting them on, they lost. But that's not a problem, as we are already 10 seconds and I have not started. So Anaheim, let's go through the core players on that team. You had Getzlav, you had Corey Perry, you had Kessler, Sammy Vatanen maybe, yes, and I'm going to guess Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler was not. Henrique wasn't there. It was Jakob Silfverberg. I know he was. The question is he on that list? He is. Perfect. Coyotes. This is back when you had Shane Doan, you had Ekman Larson, Oliver Ekman Larson. He was the top. Okay, that's a little shocking. Who else they had? You had Martin Hansel. He's not going to be on there. What about Verbata? Radin Verbata, or was that like a year later? Is he with the Canucks? He is with the Canucks. Okay. So, Coyotes. I am fully not expecting to get so many. Maybe McCulloch. Zebned McCulloch. Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to be spelling that. I'll give one more guess. I'll say Mikhail Bodker. Bodker? Did I spell that right? Bodker? Mikhail Bodker? I have no idea how he spells that name. Okay, anyway, I'm going to move on. Boston. So I'm going to guess Brad Marchand. He's going to be up there. I'm sure Bergeron might be up there. He is. Pasternak, I don't think was on the team, but I'll double check. Pasternak was not on the team. You have Torrey Krug still. Krejci, David Krejci, also not on that list. How about it would help if I could put in. He's not on there. How about Jimmy Hayes? Jimmy Hayes? No, not coming up. Wow, I really don't know. Zdeno Chara? He's not going to be up there. Wow, they really don't have a lot of those players right now. They're a new core. McQuaid? I don't think Adam McQuaid is going to be on this list. Quaid. If I spelled that name wrong, yeah, he's not up there. Wow, I really cannot think of anyone else. Maybe Louis Eriksson. I'm pretty sure he was on the team back then. Louis Eriksson. There he is. Okay. Oh, wait. They had 2 players tied at 44. All right. I'm going to skip them. My goal is to get 3 players for each team. I'm not expecting to get perfect at all at Buffalo. So they didn't have Eichel at the time. I don't think they had Oposo either. Oh, man, who did they have? You had Zemgus Girgensons? Zemgus Girgensons, okay. Ryan O'Reilly, or was he on the Avalanche? He might have been. Yeah, he was on the Avalanche. Evander Kane or Patrick Kane's probably coming up for the Blackhawks. Anyway, wow. Gianta, Brian Gianta? He comes up. Let's try to get one more. Ristolainen? Rasmus Ristolainen? I really don't know. Anyway, Flames, let's move on. You got Sean Monahan. You got Michael Backlund. You got, if I could spell Backlund's name right, unless he's just not up there. Okay, one more try. Backlund. Yeah, he's not up there. Johnny Gaudreau was a rookie this year. He was great for them. Sean Monahan, we already typed in. They had Giordano, but I don't know if he's going to be a scorer. He is. Who else did they have? You had Joe Colborne. I don't think he was much of a scorer. Yeah, he's not going to be up there. How about who else did they have on this team? It's going to be someone really obvious, and I'm going to be very annoyed when I don't get it. They didn't have Tkachuk. They didn't have Janikowski. They didn't have Elias Lindholm at the time. Who did they have? Oh, man. Yuri Hudler? It was Yuri Hudler. Okay. I'm not going to guess that last one. Want to spread it around a little. Hurricanes. You had Jordan and Eric Stahl on the team at the time. Eric Stahl comes up. You had Alexander Semin? Nah, he's not coming up. Who was their defense at the time? Justin Falk? He's probably going to be on this list. He is. Let's try to get one more. Going for 3 on each team. But wow, I really have no idea who was on the Hurricanes at this time of year. I'll guess was Slavin? Jacob Slavin? It would help if I had my cursor on. Why is it not? Jacob Slavin? Yeah, he's not going to be on there. Wow. Elias Lindholm. He was on the team at the time. There we go. Elias Lindholm. Okay, let's move on. Blackhawks. Kane. You had Johnny Tays back then. You had Brandon Saad back then. You had Patrick Sharp at the time. He's not going to be on there. Duncan Keith. He was a good offensive defenseman for them. Still is. Seabrook. Is he going to be that last guy? No. This is one I should probably get. Andrew Shaw. Oh, Hossa. Marian Hossa. That was a no-brainer. I can't believe I missed that right away. Colorado. Who do we got? Nathan McKinnon. No, shockingly enough. Landeskog. Should be. Tyson Barrie. No. Eric Johnson. Yes. Oh, Jack Johnson. Sorry, not Eric Johnson. Who had 59 points? Duchesne? Matt Duchesne didn't. Carl Soderberg? No. Iginla? Jerome Iginla? It was. And how about, let's go for that last one. Alex Tanguay? Did I spell that right? Tanguay? Alex Tanguay? I have no idea. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Let's see. Columbus Blue Jackets. Foligno, I'm pretty sure, was up there. He had a great year. Atkinson. Cam Atkinson was on there. How about they didn't have Wenberg. Who else did they have? You had Foligno. You had Atkinson. You had Jack Johnson. You had 71 points for this team. No Werenski. Maybe Seth Jones. Oh, he was on the Predators, actually. He did not play for the Jackets at the time. David Savard. David Savard's not coming up on that list either. I'll give it 1 or 2 more guesses, and I'll say Scott Hartnell. Was he on the team back then? Hartnell was on the team. There's one more. Brandon Dubinsky? I hope I can spell the name right. Dubinsky? Okay, not going to spend any more time on that. Anyway, let's move on. Dallas. So you got Ben and Tyler Seguin. Those are no-brainers. You didn't have Radulov back then, so who did they have? Was Como? Oh, Como might come up for the Avalanche, actually. No, he was not. Klingberg? John Klingberg? Oh, he comes up. I'll give it one more guess and say... actually, I'm not going to give it another guess. Red Wings, this is back when they were actually a very good team. So you got Henrik Zetterberg. You got Pavel Datsyuk. You got maybe Abdelkader. Justin Abdelkader. He is. I'm sure that Gustav Nyquist is going to be on this list. 56. Eriksson. Jonathan Erickson, defenseman? No. I don't know. Wow. And I don't want to spend too much time because the clock is ticking. So let's move on. Edmonton. You didn't have McDavid, but you had Taylor Hall and you had Nugent Hopkins. They didn't have Draisaitl. Was it Yakupov? Nail Yakupov? Nail Yakupov's not on that list. How about Jordan Eberle? Jordan Eberle it is. Okay, let's move on. Panthers. So you have Barkov, but he's not going to be on that list. How about Huberdeau? Jonathan Huberdeau is the top guy on the list. Vincent Trocheck, is he going to be on that list? Vincent Trocheck, not going to be on that list. Nick Buke, I don't think I'm going to spell this right. Nick Bukestad, okay, he was on that list, and I did spell it right. Let's give it one more guess and say Derek McKenzie? It's not going to be him. Riley Smith, one more guess. Craig Smith comes up. Okay, I don't know who that is. Kings, back when they were not absolute trash. Brown, Kopitar, you got Doughty. Should have Jeff Carter on this list. Tyler Toffoli. Who is that last one going to be? Jake Muzzin? Not going to be Muzzin. I don't want to spend much more time on it. I'll guess Justin Williams. Not Justin Williams, and one last of Alec Martinez. It's not going to be him either. Let's move on. Minnesota, you got Mikko Koivu. You got Zach Parise. They didn't have Zuccarello. They had Matt Dumba at the time, but he's not up there. How about Ryan Suter? He's not going to be up there either. Who else they have? Pominville. Jason Pominville was on this team. So was Thomas Vanek. Vanek was also on that team. I don't want to guess that last one, so I'm going to move on to Montreal. You have Max Pacioretty, Thomas Plekanec was on that team. Brandon Gallagher was on that team, but he's not coming up. How about Brandon Prust? No. Lars Eller? No. I'll give it one more guess. Subban? PK Subban? He is coming up. Okay, Nashville. Let's move on. Shea Weber. He's going to be a guess, but he's not up there. Was Yossi? He is. How about, guess for the Blue Jackets, Ryan Johansson. There we go. That completes it. Let's see. Nashville. James Neal was on that list. No. Forsberg? Philip Forsberg had his rookie year this year, and he was great, I remember. He led them. Okay, not going to guess anymore. Devils. I don't even know who they had. Was Yager on the team at the time? I think he was, but he did not. Maybe he played for the Panthers. Don't remember. Jokinen. UC Jokinen named that reminded me for the Panthers. Okay, Devils. I really don't know who they had this year. You had, Mike Green comes up. Andy Green, that's how he spells his name. He's not up there. Was Palmieri on this team, or was he on the Ducks? I think he was on the Ducks this year. Wow, who the heck did the Devils have at the time? Patrick Elias, okay. I really don't know who else they had on this team. Zajac, one more guess. Yeah, it wasn't Zajac. Okay, moving on. Islanders. You had Tavares. You had Bailey, not coming up. Lee. Ladd. He was on the Jets. Okay, wow, the Islanders. I'm having a lot of trouble. Brock Nelson, Kyle Oposo. Nice. Let's move on. Rangers. I'm going to try to get all of these. Zuccarello. He had a good year. Derek Stepan. Would help if I could spell. Derek Stepan is on there. 69 points. Who had the most? Rick Nash. He had a great year. So did Martin St. Louis, I think. Martin St. Louis. 60 points for the Rangers. Kiki Yandel. He comes up. Was he? He was with the Yotes. He was with the Coyotes. He got traded to the Rangers before. Wow, 60 points. I want to try to get this, but I also JT Miller. I'll give it one last guess and say Chris Kreider. Did I spell his name right? Yeah, I don't know who it's going to be. I'm going to move on. Okay, moving on. Senators, Erik Karlsson. This is hopefully not going to take up too much time. Bobby Ryan. Alex Hemsky, or was he not? We only got 2 minutes left. I'm going to try to get no more than 3 per team. Jacob Voracek should be on this list. So should Claude Giroux, Wayne Simmons. If I could spell, he is on this list. I'm not going to, Couturier. Sean Couturier, he's not on this list. I'm not going to take any more guesses. Penguins, this one, you had Crosby, you have Malkin, you've got Hornquist. Patrick Hornquist. Let's move on. Sharks, Pavelski. You have Logan Couture. You got Joe Thornton. You got Brent Burns. Not going to guess anymore. St. Louis, you got Tarasenko. You got Perron, or was he on the Penguins? He was on the Penguins that year. Pietrangelo, probably not. Kevin Shattenkirk, not coming up. I'm going to go one more. Alexander Steen, Jaden Schwartz. Felt lucky. Lightning. Stamkos. He was good for them. You have Nikita Kucherov. He might be on this list. Andre Palat. Alex Killorn. Not going to be there. Don't want to think about it. Victor Hedman, one last guess. No. Maple Leafs. You had Phil Kessel. He's about the only player I know on that Maple Leafs team besides Fernaz and Kadri. And Kadri's out there, so great. And Riley, maybe? Not going to take a guess on how that's spelled. You have Bo Horvat. But more importantly, you had the Sedin twins back then. I'm not guessing any more Capitals. You got Ovechkin. You got Backstrom. Oshie was on the Blues at the time. Kuznetsov. Don't know. And then for the Jets, Scheifele was not there. Blake Wheeler. Last guess I've got. And Buff. It didn't work. Okay, so anyway, let's just see who I missed. Yeah, I was going to type in Bufflin. I was thinking about Mark Scheifele, but he didn't have it. Wow, yeah, I spent a little too much time. It was Alex Tanguay for the Avalanche, but I guess I didn't spell it right. Wow, I missed a lot of obvious names, but I was also trying to go fast and just even it out. I'm pretty sure if I had a lot more time, I probably would have gotten Tatar and Cromwell for the Red Wings. Skinner for the Hurricanes, Pouliot and Purcell, not going to lie, forgot they played for the Oilers. Wow, Pouliot should have had that one. Aaron Ekblad was a big one I missed. Marian Gaborik, forgot about him. Kyle Granlund, forgot. Derek Brassard, oh my gosh, he led them in scoring in the postseason. Wow, I missed a lot of really obvious names. Ryan Strome, Islander before, as well as Franz Nielsen. Wow. Adam Henrique was on the Devils, and Mike Camilleri, yeah, Scott Gomez and Steve Bernier I would have never gotten. Mike Ribeiro, Shea Weber. I spelled Weber with 2 B's. I remember that. Wow, that was kind of pathetic how I flat out just okay, that's a little weird. But, obviously not a terrific showing. I mean, I beat the average score, but I know a lot more of these players, and I should not have done as badly as I ended up doing. So we're going to stop sharing the screen. And Joey just texted me saying that he is coming back. So let's answer him and say, hello. And here he is.
Here I am.
Okay, Joey.
All right, let's do it.
I have one piece of advice for you, and that is just
spelling. Spelling is big.
No, not spelling. I mean, like spelling for some cases in me, but prepare yourself, and that's all I have to say.
Well, it was 5 years ago. Some of these guys might be retired, I'm guessing.
I wouldn't go, maybe. I'm not maybe.
Or, playing in another league.
It's going to be yes, and it's going to be when did that guy ever play for a team,
Or for that team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to mute myself. If you need help with spelling, let me know. I'll do my best to try.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Getzlaff, Perry, Kessler, Raquel. Did I spell that right? Okay, so not him. Ooh. Theodore? Who the hell is on this team? Sekach? No.
That was the question I asked myself for a lot of these teams.
Do I know the people on the Ducks?
Oh, yeah, you're going to know them. You're just not guessing them.
Nah, I'll come back. Doan, Ekman. I know. Larson. Okay.
I don't believe you need hyphens, by the way, if necessary.
I'll go back to those. I don't care about those teams. Marchand, Pasternak. Was he on? No, he wasn't on the team yet.
Can you scroll down?
I'm going in where I'm going, okay?
Fine.
Merjan Chara. Whoa. Josh was definitely shocked by that one. I'll come back. Oh, Buffalo. Oh,
It
shoot.
was reminding me how new that team is.
And Buffalo, too. Ristolainen, did I spell it right?
You did.
So not him. Who the hell is on this team? Pominville? Oh, right. He was on the Wild. Oh, not on the Sabres. Oh, King. What? O'Reilly. Otto. What? Wow. Buffalo, you suck. Yeah, Briere's. Wow, of course Briere's retired. Oh, Gianta. Yes.
That's the feeling I got when I got my first Sabre.
Okay, because he's the captain. Okay, Calgary. I got this one. Gaudreau. Rip me yourself, please. Gaudreau. Giordano. Okay, surprise a little bit. Monahan.
No, you got Giordano right. You didn't spell it right.
Giordano.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Giordano. Brody? Nah, shoot. Lindholm. Oh. I'll come back. Carolina. Stahl. Falk. Jeff Skinner still on this team? Yeah. Jeff Skinner. Hannafin. Yeah, okay. Okay. Patrick Kane. Who had more points than him? Taves? Okay, good. Hossa. Good. Keith. Seabrook. Ooh. Sod? Okay. Carolina. McInnon.
Spelled it right.
Okay. Interesting. Landeskog. Barry. Landeskog. Ryan O'Reilly. Not Johnson. Okay. Was it Ginla on this team? Yeah! Yeah! Columbus. Foligno. Johansson. Can't believe I let him go. Atkinson. Hartnell? All right. Dallas Stars. Ben. Sagan. Klingberg? Klingberg. Yeah, I got Klingberg. Sharp? No, he wasn't on the team.
He was a Blackhawk, buddy.
He was the next year, buddy. Nichus. Nichuskin? How do I spell that? Val Nichushkin. Nechushkin. You're so cautious. Okay. No, Nichushkin. I don't care. Okay, wings. Zetterberg. That's Uke. I hope he still played. Okay. Abdelkader. Wait, this is top 5. Because it's tied.
Yeah. Same thing with the Bruins also. They have 244s.
Gotcha. And this is points, not goals. Okay, so there could be defenseman. What's his name? Smith? No. Erickson? Jonathan Erickson?
2 R's, I believe.
No.
I know, 2 S's, 2 S's, 2 S's. I mean, I don't think he's on. I don't remember if he was on there, to be quite honest, but.
No. Okay. That's Hugh Zetterberg. I'm done there. Oh, wait. What about Green? No. Oilers, McDavid. Oh, shit. This is before McDavid. Al, Hopkins.
Did you say Hal?
Hall. I don't know why. Do I have to do Nugent Hopkins? Or was he not?
You got to type the whole thing in. Yeah.
So you said not to. Oh, you said no hyphen.
Oh, I said if there's a hyphen, you don't need to put a hyphen. You still have to type in the whole last name.
Gotcha. Okay. Who was ahead of them? Eberle? Can't believe they traded that guy. Strom's not on the team. He's on the Islanders. Okay. Who else is on this team? trying to remember who the hell's on the Oilers. Oh, what the hell's his name? I don't care. Florida Panthers. Okay. Barkov. Really? Ekblad. Huberdeau. Trocheck. Okay,
TRO and then the word check.
RO check. No. Oh, Yager. What? Oh no, he's on the Rangers. Okay.
Oh, it was with the Coyotes that year.
Or whatever. Oh really? Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
they traded him.
Okay, let's do Kings. Kopitar. Brown. No. Carter. Gaborik. Dowdy. And Toffoli. Wow, okay. Minnesota Wild. Palmville. Parise. Suter. Wow. Koivu. Granlund. Who was he on the team? And I hate how to say this guy's names. Nino.
It's not him. I'll spare you. It's not him.
Okay, thank God, because that's a crazy name. Oh, what's that guy's name? Thomas Vanek. Yes. Okay, Habs. Shit, who's good on the Habs? Pacho Reddy. Weber. Oh, yeah, Shibor. Oh, Subban. Okay, Subban. Gallagher. Did I spell that right? Brendan Gallagher.
Spelled it right.
Gallagher. Okay. What about the defenseman? What was his name? Markov? And there's another one. There's another defenseman. Maybe not. No, that was him. That was the defenseman. Gallagher. I'll come back to that. Predators. Weber, Smith. What about Yossi? What about Forsberg? And what about Neil? Ooh, not Neil. Okay. Who the hell is good on this team? Oh, man. What was his name? What was that guy's name? Fisher. No. Ribeiro? No. What the hell's his name? Arvidsson? Let's come back to that one. Oh, shit, the Devils. Who the hell's on the Devils at this time? Eliash?
That was my reaction also.
Henrique? Palmieri? Did I spell that right?
He was on the Ducks at the time.
How do
I don't know if you spelled it right, but I know he wasn't on the Devils. He was on the Ducks.
Camil. How do I spell this? Mike Camilleri. Camilleri. Okay. Kyle Palmieri. Yeah, I was right. So not him. And who else is on this team? Green? Moore? No, I'm not going to get it. And I don't really care. Okay, Tavares. Nielsen? No. How about Nelson? Bailey? No. Okposo? And who the hell else is on this team? I have no idea. Cizikas? I don't even give a shit. Okay, Rangers. McDonough. Wow, okay. Zuccarello. Nash. Stepan. Kreider? No. Oh, definitely Big Game Brass. And who's their defenseman? Was it a defenseman? Stahl? Oh my God, what was his
All
name?
defensemen. You think Mark Stahl would have been the leading scorer?
No, but you said Yandel was on the thing, so I have to think. Maybe it's not a defenseman. I could be wrong.
No, I'm just saying.
Trying to think. Fast? No. Gosh. Miller? Hayes, maybe? Do I know this player? What was it? Oh, wait, what am I saying? This is
I'll
the
do one
perfect
first.
trophy. I was about to say, whoa. Sorry, my bad. Whoa.
I was gonna be like, of course you know this player. It's too obvious.
Yeah, he's a legend.
I'm not gonna lie, I missed Broussard though, because I was running out of time and I was like, shoot, I don't even care.
Okay, I'm running out of time. Mute yourself. Stone. Hoffman. Cece? No. Ryan. And what the hell is his name? Oh my god. Whatever. I didn't do Colorado. Duchesne is who I missed. Oh my god. Because I thought of Ottawa. Flyers, Giroux. Check. Simmons. Couturier. Okay, whatever. I'll go back if I have time.
I
Malkin.
think you spelled it wrong.
Sure. Letang. Shiri. No. Perron. Okay. Thornton. I know. Blues. Pietrangelo. Shattenkirk. Wow. Backus. Schwartz. Steen. Brower. Oshie? Oh, wow. Who is this? Backus? I don't care. Tampa Bay Lightning. Stamkos. Killorn. Wow. Okay. Palat. Hedman. Kucherov. I don't care. Leafs. I don't care. Maybe Phaneuf. Nope. Kessel. Kessel's who I meant. Yeah. Canucks. Sedin. Thank you. Ovechkin. Backstrom. Carlson. Oh my god. What was that black guy's name? Who cares? Lad. Byfuglian. And that's it. I don't know his name. Okay, let's take a look. Michael Silverberg, yeah.
All right, so let me tell you, first of all, congratulations. You got 2 more than me because I didn't spell Shea Weber's name right, and there was another 2 names I didn't spell right. I didn't spell Alex Tanguay of the Avalanche or Carl Soderberg right of the Boston
All right,
Bruins.
so most of these, like, whatever, if I had more time, maybe, but the only ones, like,
whatever. For what it is, you beat me.
I said Nielsen. I spelled that. I know I did.
Yes. And
So that's annoying. That's annoying. And there was one more. Who was it? No. I did try to spell Wheeler. Or sorry, not Wheeler, Scheifele. But yeah, those 2. But whatever. Point is, it was a good game. Good game.
It was close.
And maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we won't.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
And yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for everyone tuning into our holiday special, and wish you, whatever race, religion, denomination you are, have a happy holidays, and we'll see you next time on the JJ Sports Podcast.